Social work is one of the most rewarding professions in the UK. However, the average social worker lasts between 4 to 8 years. It's a job with loads and loads of stress and burnout and divorce rates. If you are someone who is considering social work as a profession, or you are currently a social worker in the UK or abroad, or you are someone who currently resides abroad, you're thinking of coming to work in the UK, this podcast is a must for you to watch. Because I've got someone in the studio who's got more than 20 years experience in social health and social care. She is currently a manager with wealth of experience. In fact, you can call her the guru of social work. She is going to share strategies to cope with stress and build your resilience. Without wasting your time, could you kindly introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi everybody, my name is Michelle Zaregbe. I am a CEO of Building Inclusive Unions, but I also work as an assistant team manager in a children service team.
Thank you, Michelle. So you work in frontline, safeguarding, child protection, right?
Yes, I do.
Can you kindly tell the audience how you got into social work?
Yep, so I was working within residential settings and I felt that I needed to understand it from a statutory point of view, what the expectations were. So I applied for a job as a family support worker in social care. Wasn't successful in one team, but I got offered a job in a front door team by the team manager there. So that's how I started. I joined quite quickly, and within that, I started my social work qualification within 4 or 5 months.
Family support worker, you went to which university?
I went to Reading University.
That's where you got your social work qualification?
That's where I got it from.
Okay. What is the name of the team that you work in when you qualify?
So I worked in the referral and assessment team, which is now known, I think, as access teams, but it was a front door team. So I was fortunate to remain in that team because that's where all the referrals that come to social care and come into social work, they come in. So that was children with disabilities, that was child protection, that was what we call child in need referrals. All of them came in at that front door. That's court work. So I got a vast of experience just by being in that one team.
How long were you in the referral and assessment team?
So I was in that team for 7 years. And from there, I decided that I needed to get more experience in sort of like longer term court work and what we called locality work, where you do the work once the initial bit's done. And so I moved to different local authorities as a locum worker to build my experience.
Okay, so you've worked in referral and assessment, you worked in long-term team.
I've worked in children with disabilities team as a manager, I've worked in court teams, and I've worked in safeguarding.
Okay, so of all the teams that you've worked, which one is the most stressful team?
Currently, child protection.
Child protection.
Child protection.
Okay, so I must admit that one of the reasons I invited you to come and speak to the Launch Club is you are somebody that I admire in terms of your positivity. You always got a smile in your face, and that is not something that is seen often in social work, because some managers, when they are dealing with stress, they can subconsciously become unapproachable. What would you say, that is a compliment by the way.
Thank you.
What would you say is the secret in terms of your positivity?
Okay, so I think the first thing to note is that we are all humans, we're working with humans, okay? So we're dealing with a lot of emotion. We need to check in with ourselves, because if we are not okay, we can't then deliver the work that we need to deliver. Right? So that's first and foremost. The second thing I would say is that my management style is that my peers around me, yes, I am a manager, but my peers around me have lots of knowledge. They're doing the day-to-day work. So it's about understanding the team, knowing what their strengths are and how they go out. It's really important to take time out for yourself, and it's really important to support your team to take time out for themselves. Being approachable, whether you're a manager or a social worker within that team, that is so important, because I think that sometimes when you come back from a difficult meeting or a difficult visit that you've done to a family, just having that space to be able to be vulnerable and talk about it is really important.
So you're talking about taking time out.
Absolutely.
Okay. So in terms of resilience, is there anything you would like to add? What would you say? Because you can't just tell me it's just only taking time out.
It's building good networks. So within your team, knowing your allies, knowing who you're working with, knowing that being able to talk through the job and what you're doing and how that's impacting on you. So I think that having a good network around you is really important as well. I think you do have to be rigid with time management, because I think sometimes with this job it can overflow into private life, and when it involves too much, rolls over into private life, that can impact on stress levels as well. So it is just about being aware of that.
Good. Quick appeal. Lunch Club, the idea behind Lunch Club is to make sure people from marginalized community in the UK and abroad get information at their disposal for them to be able to use this information to improve their life chances. For us to be able to do what we do now, it takes a lot of sacrifices and effort to do a lot of research and to be able to persuade knowledgeable experts like Michelle to come and sit down with us so that you can have the information. We're not asking you for anything. All I'm asking you to do in return to encourage me and the team is to continue to share our video and subscribe to our Facebook and YouTube page so that we can be motivated to continue to do what we're doing now. If you know anyone who is a social worker abroad thinking of coming to work in the UK, please kindly share this video to them. If you know anyone who is a social work student in the UK or anyone who is considering a career in social work and you come across this video, please share this video to them, because this video could be the breakthrough that someone has been praying for. Thank you for doing that. Michelle, assuming we have someone who is currently abroad, wants to come to work in the UK as a social worker, what would be your advice for them in order for them to be successful here?
Okay, so I think that I touched briefly on things such as knowing your worth, self-reflection and areas of development. But I think for somebody that's coming to the UK on top of what I've just said, I think you need to have your basic needs met. So things like where are you going to live, that your accommodation's sorted out, that you understand the differences in currency. Quite often I hear a number of times that childcare, for example, in the UK is very high, and that's not always taken into consideration. Checking whether there is a local community to your home country where you're moving to, and if not, if there's church groups or anywhere that you can have that support outside of work, because it can be quite difficult to manage. And I think you need those things in order to be able to do a difficult job as such in social work.
Especially for the first few months, which can be challenging for anyone relocating to a new country. You can be isolated. I think the key things that Michelle is just shared is make sure you have support network. Find community, could be people from your community, social workers that you know abroad, that you already know, or ask questions. Make sure you have that support. Make sure in terms of your housing, you've already made provisions for housing, because the job you are coming in to do, if you do not have a supporting manager who doesn't understand the difficulties that people face when they move abroad, you could arrive at work today and your manager put an assessment on your tongue, put a court report on your table and say, look, you have to do this court report. The expectation is that you're being paid and therefore you have to do it. So it's very, very important that you put the things in place that would enable you to be able to survive and do the job well. That is what Michelle has kindly just shared. So Michelle, almost 20 years in health and social care, and you're still going. You are a legend, I must say. What has kept you going?
I think that working with people, I think has helped me to keep going. I think that developing teams, building allies, learning from social workers, that's helped me go in. I've not got to being head of service yet, and that's somewhere that I need to get to.
Yeah.
So that's always been on my career path to keep progressing in management. I haven't completed that yet, so I'm still going to be here.
For someone who is working as a social worker in the UK from minority community who is aspiring to get into management, what is your advice for them?
I would say keep applying for those management roles, print off those person specifications to see what skills you need in order to apply for that job. I would ask for feedback. I would be asking in your supervisions, this is where I need to get. These are the courses. So don't wait for them to come to you. Look at the courses that might develop your skills and just mention those in your supervisions and your appraisals so that you can keep pushing.
Okay, so I've got 3 people in mind now. Well, 3 of them are matured students. They are graduating next year and they will be getting a job in social work. What is your advice for Charles, Josephine, and David who will watch this video?
Okay, so for them, I would say that once they identify the team that they're going into, do your groundwork, know your team, know the manager, try and meet up with the team and get invited to the team meetings. I would try and find out the sorts of families that they're working with, so what the caseloads are like, because I think it's really important to try and time manage right from the beginning. The expectation is that you're not going to work 9 to 5. It doesn't mean that you need to work 8 till 8, 9 till 9, Saturday to Sunday. So know what sort of team you're going into, what the pressures are on that team, sort of caseload, that sort of thing, because that will help manage your time effectively. Find an ally within that team. If you can't find an ally within that team, find an ally within that organisation in which you can talk to, because again, self-reflection is important, but also being able to have regular debriefs because of the work can be quite daunting is really important. And if you don't have a manager that you feel you can do that with, it's important that you find someone you can.
Is there anything that has worked for you? Because like I said before, you are always approachable, you always have a smile on your face. What is the secret, beside what you've already told us, of your positive outlook?
I think I've always tried to be a manager that I have wanted to aspire to, that I feel that in order to develop my skill set and develop my skill set as a leader, I need to be approachable. I'm going to have social workers within the team that are going to have challenges, but also recognising the positives in the work that they bring. I think that it's so important as a leader to kind of always reflect what it is that you want for yourself, and that's it.